We grew up together, shared secrets, laughed for years. Then I found out she was spying on me for money. This betrayal runs deeper than you think. She left her diary open. Page 37. My name was at the top, underlined 3 times. And beneath it, assignment target. Keep close. Report everything. I dropped the book like it had burned me. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was surveillance. She wasn't just my best friend. She was a spy. And I had no idea who she was really working for. But I was going to find out. And when I did, I'd make sure she regretted ever meeting me. Her name was Ashley. Ashley Lauren Reed. Hair the color of midnight. Smile like she could talk her way out of anything. We met at a campus orientation barbecue, 2 broke girls with nothing to lose and everything to prove. She offered me a beer. I gave her a fry. By the end of the night, we were laughing on the roof of the science building, daring each other to jump into futures we hadn't even imagined yet. We became inseparable. Or so I thought. For almost 2 years, Ashley was the person. The one I called when I tanked my econ midterm. The one who showed up with donuts when my mom got sick. She knew every detail of my life, my dreams, my fears, my worst habits. She even helped me move out when I broke up with Ethan. We made ramen at 3 a.m., danced to Taylor Swift, and cried about nothing and everything. She wasn't just my best friend. She was my person. I never once thought to question why she knew so much. Why she never talked about her own family. Why she never let me meet her boyfriend or see her phone unlocked. Until the night I did. It started small. Her phone buzzed. She jumped. It wasn't a normal, "oh, I got a message," flinch. It was like she'd been caught. Then she deleted the message without reading it. Later, I caught her in my room. Alone. She said she was looking for my charger. But my laptop had been moved. My journal slightly open. I brushed it off. Because when you trust someone, you make excuses for things you shouldn't. Then came the night she slept over after movie night. We were doing face masks, gossiping about classmates. She said she left her diary on my desk. A leather-bound notebook. Unlocked. She fell asleep on the couch. I couldn't resist. Not because I was nosy, but because I had a gut feeling. And I was right. Page 37. My name. Target. Reports. Dates. Locations. Private conversations written down word for word. She'd been tracking me. I didn't confront her. Because I knew better. If Ashley was spying on me, then she wasn't working alone. And if I confronted her too soon, she'd vanish. I needed answers. I needed a plan. So I pretended like nothing had changed. Even when I was screaming inside. Even when she hugged me goodbye the next morning and whispered, "I'd do anything for you. You know that?" Yeah, now I did. I made copies of the diary. Scanned every page. Encrypted it. Backed it up. Twice. Then I started investigating her. Every Ashley Reed on social media. Every phone number. Every photo. Every tag post. And guess what? Ashley Reed didn't exist. Not before 3 years ago. No high school records. No DMV info. No family accounts. It was like she popped into existence the year we met. Which meant one thing. Someone sent her. The next week, a package showed up at my apartment. No return address. Inside, a burner phone. Preloaded with only one contact. Redacted. And a message. "You're not supposed to remember her." That's when I realized. Ashley wasn't spying on me for a boyfriend. She wasn't spying for a jealous ex. She was spying for someone who didn't want me to remember my own life. And the scariest part? I had no idea what they'd erased. The burner phone buzzed again. Another message. "Stop digging." I stared at the screen, heart pounding. Who was sending these messages? Why was I not supposed to remember Ashley? I needed answers. I started retracing our steps, revisiting places Ashley and I frequented. The coffee shop where we spent countless hours studying, the bookstore where we shared our favorite novels, the park where we had deep conversations. At the coffee shop, I asked the barista if she remembered Ashley. She looked puzzled. "Ashley? I don't recall anyone by that name." Strange. At the bookstore, the owner shook his head. "You always came alone." My mind reeled. Was Ashley a figment of my imagination? No, I had the diary. The messages. She was real. Back home, I searched through my belongings, hoping to find any trace of Ashley. Photos, letters, anything. I found a USB drive hidden in a drawer. Plugging it into my laptop, I discovered a folder labeled Project Echo. Inside were documents detailing surveillance operations, psychological profiles, and reports on various individuals, including me. One file stood out. Subject 12, Observations by Agent AR. Agent AR? Ashley Reed. The reports detailed my daily routines, conversations, and even thoughts I had confided only to Ashley. I felt violated. Betrayed. I decided to confront Ashley. If she was still in my life, I needed answers. I sent a message to the burner phone. We need to talk. Now. Minutes later, a reply. Meet me at the old pier. Midnight. The pier was deserted, the moon casting eerie shadows on the water. Ashley emerged from the darkness, her expression unreadable. You weren't supposed to find out, she said softly. Who are you? Why were you spying on me? She hesitated. I can't tell you everything. It's not safe. I deserve to know the truth. She looked around nervously. They're watching us. I have to go. Before I could stop her, she disappeared into the night. Back home, I delved deeper into the Project Echo files. One document mentioned a facility, the Institute. Coordinates were provided. I decided to investigate. The next day, I drove to the location. It was a secluded building, surrounded by dense woods. Inside, I found rooms filled with surveillance equipment, files, and photographs, all of me. I wasn't just a subject. I was the focus. A video played on a monitor, showing Ashley reporting to a man in a suit. Subject 12 is showing signs of awareness. We may need to initiate Phase 2. Phase 2? What had I stumbled into? I knew I couldn't trust anyone. Not even Ashley. I needed to find out who was behind this and why. But first, I had to protect myself. I copied all the files, documenting everything. If anything happened to me, the truth would be exposed. As I left the facility, I felt a sense of determination. I would uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The deeper I delved, the more questions arose. Who was behind Project Echo? What was their goal? And why was I the center of it all? I was determined to find out. But I had no idea just how deep the rabbit hole would go. What would you do if your entire life was a lie? I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her. Ashley, staring at me across the pier. Regret written on her face. Fear in her voice. They're watching us. Who was watching? And why me? At 3:17 a.m., I got another message on the burner phone. You're getting too close. Phase 2 begins now. No sender. Just a time-stamped warning. That same moment, my internet cut out. My phone bricked. All my files, including the ones I copied from the Institute, were gone. Wiped clean. Except for one folder. A single video file. It was labeled Mother. I hesitated, then clicked play. It was grainy footage. Black and white. A hospital room? There was a woman strapped to a gurney, screaming. Her voice distorted. Another voice, a man's, spoke calmly in the background. Subject 12's maternal tether must be removed. Emotional bonds are disrupting the trial. A nurse approached the woman, injected something. The screams turned to silence. Then I saw the patient's face. It was my mother, and she was pregnant. With me. I stumbled back. Was this real? I dug deeper. Hidden in the remnants of the wiped files was a transcript labeled, Interview Log, Subject AR. Ashley. Interviewer. What is your relationship with Subject 12? AR. He thinks I'm his best friend. He trusts me. Interviewer. Does he suspect anything? AR. Not yet. But he's asking questions. Interviewer. And how do you feel about him? AR. I don't know anymore. That last line broke me. She didn't deny it. She didn't claim it was all a mission. She just didn't know. I had to move fast. If they could erase my data, they could erase me. I printed every document. Burned copies to CDs, mailed them to 6 different people I trusted. Only one person responded. Her name was Mara, a cybersecurity specialist I knew from college. We weren't close, but we'd worked together once, and I knew she didn't scare easily. She messaged back. You're in a web, and it's older than you think. Meet me at 8 p.m. Don't bring your phone. We met at an old arcade we used to hang out at. Neon lights flickered overhead, casting her face in electric shadows. She handed me a folder. This is what you missed. Inside were blueprints, employee records, bank transfers. A name showed up repeatedly. The Shadow Network. They're not just watching you, Mara said. They made you. I froze. What do you mean made? You're part of an experiment. One of 20. Your memories, your friendships, even Ashley, it was all designed. My throat closed up. Designed for what? She looked at me carefully. To see if someone can be programmed. To forget who they really are. That night, someone broke into my apartment. They didn't steal anything. They left something. A manila envelope on my kitchen counter. Inside, a photo of me and Ashley at prom. Only, I had never gone to prom. On the back, written in red ink. The memories you lost are the ones that matter most. Beneath it, a map. One place was circled. A small coastal town I'd never heard of, Black Hollow. I packed light. Told no one. I drove through the night, every road sign bringing me closer to answers or a trap. Black Hollow was foggy, deserted, almost too quiet, like it had been waiting for me. At the edge of town stood a white house. Familiar, but I couldn't place it. I walked up the porch, knocked once. The door creaked open on its own. Inside, every photo on the wall was of me and Ashley, and people I didn't recognize, but they recognized me. One photograph showed us as children, holding hands, smiling. The caption read, Trial 1, Pre-Event Conditioning. I found the basement door hidden behind an old bookcase. Dusty, locked with a keypad. I tried the only number that made sense, Ashley's birthday. The lock clicked open. Stairs led down into darkness. I followed. At the bottom was a room filled with monitors, surveillance footage, video logs, files labeled with my name. Ashley's, Mara's. Then I saw it. A chair, and restraints, and a screen flashing 2 words over and over. Remember everything. Suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. Ashley stood at the top of the stairs, tears in her eyes. I wanted to stop them. I tried. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. She took a shaky breath. Because they said if you ever found out, you'd become one of them. I stood frozen in that basement, surrounded by the truth. Or maybe another layer of the lie. Ashley reached out her hand. You have to decide now. Go deeper, or walk away. But before I could choose, a loud bang echoed above. Voices. Multiple. They'd found us. We were out of time. And just like that, the lights went out. What would you do if your best friend betrayed you to protect you? I don't remember climbing the stairs. I don't remember punching in the code. All I remember is the way my heart dropped when the lock clicked open and I saw what was inside. A room. Not very big. Maybe the size of a walk-in closet. But it was filled with files. Shelves stacked to the ceiling. Digital recorders. Flash drives. Photos. Surveillance footage. Notes. Journals. All of me. My life. My words. My routines. My private breakdowns. My late-night rants to the ceiling. All of it. Labeled. Indexed. Archived. And right there on the table was a file. Thicker than the rest. My name written on the tab. Noah Carter. There was a video file clipped to the front of the folder. I picked it up with shaking hands and clicked play. It was me. 3 weeks ago. Talking to myself in my room. Saying things I never told anyone. My voice. My face. My secrets. She had recorded everything. Every conversation. Every fight. Every vulnerable word I said when I thought I was alone. I fell to the floor. My head spinning. Why? Why would she do this? Who would ask for this? There were documents in the file. Printouts of emails. Wire transfers. A contract. She had been hired. Not just to watch me. Not just to report back. But to manipulate. To get close. To test reactions. Psychological operations. Subject 19. Trust exposure variant. I read that phrase 3 times before I could even process what it meant. Was I an experiment? Was any of it real? The walls felt like they were closing in. I stumbled out of the room, file in hand, heart pounding. I needed answers. I needed her. But when I got back to the apartment, she was gone. No text. No call. Just gone. The place was clean. Her things were gone. Like she had never existed. Except one thing remained. A note. Folded in half, on my pillow. You weren't supposed to find out this way. That was all it said. I didn't sleep that night. I spent the next day driving. Nowhere in particular. Just away. Windows down. Music off. Just me and the roar of my own mind. The worst part? I missed her. Even now, after everything. I wanted to scream. What the hell was wrong with me? That night, I checked my email. One message. Subject line. You need to see this. No sender. Inside was a video. A different angle. Me and her. Laughing. Eating burgers in my car. Her feet on the dashboard. But it was shot through a windshield. From another car. Like someone had been watching us. It wasn't just her. There were more. That's when it hit me. She wasn't the only one lying. She might have been in on it. But she might also have been trapped too. Part of something bigger. And I had just pulled the first thread. But what was the whole sweater? That's what I had to find out. Even if it meant burning everything else to the ground. The last folder in the drawer wasn't labeled. It was just a plain, battered envelope with my name handwritten on the front. Not my name now. My birth name. The one I hadn't seen since I was adopted at age 6. Samantha. My breath caught in my throat. I looked at Hannah, my supposed best friend turned traitor, who was now just as stunned as I was. You knew? I asked, barely able to breathe. No, she whispered. I swear, I never saw that before. I opened the envelope. Inside were documents, adoption records, surveillance logs, and letters. Dozens of them. From someone named Lydia, my birth mother. Each one began the same. If you're reading this, it means they let you see the truth. The letters were dated over a decade ago. My mother had written them after she'd given me up. But these weren't the usual letters filled with longing or regret. They were warnings. In them, she talked about a program. One that trained children from a young age in emotional manipulation. She'd enrolled me in it, under pressure, she claimed, from a shadowy organization that promised to protect kids like me. Empaths, she called us. Children capable of reading and influencing emotional currents. But something went wrong. She tried to pull me out. That's when she disappeared. According to the letters, they staged her death. I don't know if they'll ever let you remember who I was. One letter read. But if you do, run. The surveillance logs in the envelope were chilling. They had tracked me for years. School, friend groups, my first job, even my therapist sessions. And Hannah was in many of the reports. Codenamed Echo. She was my handler. She sat frozen beside me, shaking her head in disbelief. I didn't know they were still watching, she muttered. I was supposed to stop after high school. I thought we were. I thought I could just be your friend. You were never my friend. I am now. I didn't know what to believe anymore. We left the room, ran back through the corridors, past the broken tiles and flickering lights. The exit was still open, but something had changed. Outside, a black SUV idled. 2 men in dark suits stepped out. One of them held up a photo of me, taken just days ago. We need you to come with us, Samantha, he said calmly. I bolted. Hannah screamed after me, but I didn't stop. I ran down the alley, through the side streets, heart pounding so hard I thought it might explode. I didn't stop running until I reached a 24-hour diner on the edge of town. I locked myself in the bathroom and cried. That's where she found me. Not Hannah. Lydia. She looked older than her photos. Weathered. Scared. But alive. Don't scream, she said quickly. I only have a few minutes. I couldn't move. I've been watching too. The moment you opened the envelope, they knew. But I've stayed ahead of them. And now you have a choice. She handed me a key. To what? Your full memory. Lydia explained it fast. The program had implanted blocks, psychological barriers, on top of our early training. But those blocks could be removed. Not easily, but completely. The key she handed me? It was the address to a facility. Underground. Abandoned. I was trying to protect you by staying away, she said. But I see now they never stopped. And they won't until you remember who you really are. Why me? I whispered. Because you weren't just a subject. You were the breakthrough. The one they feared. I left the diner with Lydia. We stayed off-grid. Hannah texted, called, even posted online begging me to talk to her. I ignored it all. The address led us to the outskirts of town, past abandoned farms and empty roads. Then, a metal hatch. We pried it open and descended. What I found underground didn't just change everything I knew about myself. It changed everything about what I believed was real. Rooms filled with machines, chairs with straps, projectors and memory banks. And in the center, a console. Lydia flipped a switch. The screen lit up. And there I was, as a child, running simulations, passing emotional response tests, guiding adults through crisis roleplay. I hadn't been a subject. I'd been the architect. I staggered backward. Memories flashed behind my eyes like lightning. Hannah. She wasn't just a handler. She had been one of my students. She had lied to them about her ability to stay close to me. She fell for me, and I had wiped her memory. I gasped, collapsing to the floor. Lydia helped me sit up. They used you against your will, she said. But now, you can finish what we started. I found the original command logs. My handwriting. My directives. I recorded one last message. For Hannah. I remember everything now. I know what you did, and I know why you did it. You were trying to protect me, just like I once tried to protect you. I'm sorry for what I did to you, but I can't undo it. And I'm not coming back. I left it unlisted. I turned off my phone and stepped into the final chamber. There's one more level. One more truth. But to get to it, I'll have to fake something worse than amnesia. I'll have to fake my entire life. 3 weeks. That's how long I'd been off-grid. No internet. No phone. No Hannah. Just me, Lydia, and the shattered pieces of a childhood built on lies. Every morning I woke up in that abandoned farmhouse with a pounding head and another sliver of memory sliding into place. There were days I didn't know what was real and what had been programmed. But one thing was certain. They weren't done with me. It was almost midnight when I heard the knock. Not a loud one. Just 3 sharp taps. I froze. Lydia raised her eyes from the burner stove. We weren't followed. Another knock. I grabbed the knife from the counter. Opened the door slowly. Hannah. Soaking wet. Barefoot. Eyes hollow. They wiped me again, she whispered. But I remembered the spiral. It led me here. She collapsed. We brought her inside. Lydia patched up her feet. I sat across the table, watching her shiver in the blanket. Why come back? Because you're the only real thing left, Hannah whispered. She handed me a notebook. Pages filled with spirals. Words hidden between the lines. Codes. Commands. A journal she'd kept after the first memory wipe. I turned to the last page. It read, "If I show up again, ask me what I said the day we met." I asked. She answered. And I believed her. That night, we decoded the journal. It wasn't just memories, it was a failsafe. A plan. It revealed the final facility. Not a lab. Not a training ground. A server farm. Hidden beneath the city hospital. That's where they stored everything. Every test. Every control file. Every identity rewrite. And that's where they'd back me up next. I had 2 days. Then they'd initiate full integration. And I'd vanish for good. We went in just before dawn. Lydia forged the ID badges. Hannah knew the route. I wore a disguise and kept my head low. Everything went fine. Until we reached sublevel 4. The alarms blared before we even swiped our access card. Lights flashed red. The air tightened. Gas hissed from vents in the ceiling. Run, Lydia shouted. We split. Hannah and I bolted left, through a service tunnel. Lydia went right. I never saw her again. The final room was cold. Metal floors. Rows of humming black machines blinking like sleeping eyes. At the center, a control node. A console built into the floor. This is it, Hannah said. Your entire life. Everything they wrote. I approached the console. My hands trembled. The screen lit up. A prompt. Load personality matrix, Samantha Prime? You can delete it, she said. Or you can use it. Overwrite the system. What would that do? Erase them. Everyone who ever used the tech. It would wipe their influence. Globally. My throat tightened. But what happens to me? Hannah hesitated. You might lose yourself again. I looked down at the spiral tattoo on my wrist. Remember. Tell me who I am, I whispered. You're Samantha. You're brilliant. You're stubborn. You trust too easily. You draw spirals when you're scared. And you always choose truth over comfort. I nodded, then typed one command. Run rewrite.exe. Everything went white. I live in Oregon now. No spirals. No tapes. No trackers. Just sketchbooks. The world feels cleaner. Brighter. As if a weight lifted that no one remembers. But sometimes, in dreams, I see her. Lydia. Standing in the light. And sometimes, I wake up and there's a page in my notebook I didn't draw. Always the same word in the corner. Hannah, what would you choose? To forget the pain? Or to remember who you truly are? Because sometimes the scariest truth isn't what others hide from you. It's what you hide from yourself.